इच्छाकारेणं सन्धिसः भगवम्. Ichhakarenam sandhisah bhagvam. Let us bow down in devotion to the Pancha Parameshti. Namo Arihantanam, Namo Namo, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Namo, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Namo, Namo Vajjayanam, Namo Namo, Namo Loe Sauva Sahunam, Eso Pancha Namokaro, Eso Pancha Namokaro, Sauva Pavapanasano, Mangalanancha Sauvesim, Padhamam Havai Mangalam, Mangalanancha Sauvesim, Padhamam Havai Mangalam. I bow down in devotion at the feet of Tirthankar Paramatma Prabhu Mahavir. I bow down in devotion at the feet of most revered Pujya Gurudev Anand Rishi Ji Maharaj Sahib and of infinitely benevolent Upadhyaya Bhagwan Pujya Praveen Rishi Ji Maharaj Sahib. Ichhakarenam sandhisah bhagvam. My immense gratitude to the holy feet of Paramatma and Gurudev for showering his grace upon me to be an instrument in delivering the Uttaradhyayana Sutra in English. A Ram afternoon everyone and happy Nirvan Kallanak all of you. I Sadhvi Arohi welcome the devotees gathered here to listen to the sacred techniques of the 24th Tirthankar Paramatma Mahavir and to participate in worshipping the Srimad Uttaradhyayana Sutra. This sutra holds great significance as it contains the last words of Paramatma Mahavir before his salvation. I would be presenting the English version of Gurudev Rishi Praveen's discourse on the Srimad Uttaradhyayana Sutra. Today is the 19th day of our humble effort. We will try to understand and absorb the secrets of chapters 35 and 36 as decoded by Gurudev Praveen Rishi Ji Maharaj Sahib. Get ready for some Saran meditation. Sit straight. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly. Feel your breath. Feel yourself. Let us bow down at the feet of Tirthankar Paramatma Prabhu Mahavir in complete devotion. In your world of emotions, to experience, to establish, and to worship Paramatma's last and the best Samosaran. Forever to enshrine Paramatma's divine body in your heart. To worship Paramatma's auspicious words continuously in your life. Take permission from him and with complete devotion be seated in your place. Vardhamanam sharanam pavajami. Vardhamanam sharanam pavajami. Vardhamanam saranam pavajami. Shraddhamayo aham. Shraddhamayo aham. I am filled with devotion. I have faith that Paramatma Mahaveer will make me pure. I trust that Paramatma Mahaveer leads every being to divinity, to experience the immense happiness of his divine sermons. Deities create the divine Samosaran. I am experiencing the same divine Samosaran in my inner heart. With my faith, devotion and emotions, Shraddhamayo aham. In my inner heart is the divine Samosaran with its first enclosure of silver. All four directions are the golden archways and crystal steps. Second enclosure of gold with gemstone studded archways. Footing and walking ahead on the crystal steps are the devotees coming from all four directions and devoting at the feet of Paramatma. The third enclosure is of gemstones with Vaidurya stones archways. The moment I cross this third enclosure, I experience both the moon and the sun together. Chandesu nimalera, aichesu ayyam payasaira. Paramatma Mahaveer is seated on the heart's crystal throne, radiant with grace and glowing like moonlight is the golden hued form of Prabhu Mahaveer. Showering boundless affection and compassion are his eyes. Providing shelter to all the beings in universe are his divine feet. Chamrendra and Balendra are fanning Paramatma with divine fans. In the huge assembly seated are Indrabhuti Gautam, Sudharma Swami, other monks, Vaimanic deities, goddesses, kings, queens, men, women, and other Bhavanpati and Jyotishi deities. The three-layered divine umbrella, the huge Ashoka tree, spreading light everywhere, is the divine aura of Paramatma, dispelling the ignorance in one is the divine sermon of Paramatma. Deities are continuously showering flowers. In the sky, deities are playing the divine music, the melodies of which resonate in the entire universe, inviting to come out of the cycle of birth and death is the Dharma Chakra of Paramatma. Behind Paramatma's physical form lies his subtle, hidden form, and to experience which Sudharma Swami sings the devotional hymn Veer Stuti. Experience the presence of Paramatma within you. Visualize Paramatma. Feel your devotion for him. And slowly open your eyes. For the rendition of Veer Stuti, hymn in appreciation of Paramatma, and the Prakrit verses of Uttaradhyayana Sutra, follow the link in the description box. Namo Suyadevayaye, Namo Suyadevayaye, Namo Suyadevayaye. Gurudev, before going to the chapters, begins by beautifully describing the emotions of all the people and deities in the final days before Paramatma attains Siddhi, helping each of us understand the significance of Nirvan Kalyanag. King Hastipal was a renowned king and a great devotee of Paramatma. At his request, for the first time, Paramatma does his chaturmas in a kingdom. Everyone in the kingdom knew this would be Paramatma's final and most significant chaturmas. King Hastipal and Punyapal one night saw few unsettling dreams. They saw calves pulling carts, a crow eating pearls, and 10 other dreams symbolizing injustice. These dreams deeply shook them, and they approached Paramatma to understand their meaning. Paramatma explained that the dreams were a reflection of the future after his nirvana, giving insight into how the world and its people would be. Hearing this and knowing Paramatma wouldn't be there after few days, they both decided to walk the path of self-discipline in the presence of Paramatma. They renounced the world, handed over their kingdom, and became monks. On the other side, Indradev, the head of all deities, was also disturbed by the thought of Paramatma's nirvana and his absence from the world. He foresaw that a certain day was approaching with an event in nature that will soon take place after Paramatma's nirvana. Indradev thought that if Paramatma were present at the event could be prevented. So he went and requested Paramatma to postpone his nirvana. Paramatma told Indra that no one can take even a single breath beyond their destined time, nor can time be extended by even a moment. The power of reverse age. Scriptures tell even the head of deities, Indradev, had tears in his eyes in the final moments of Paramatma. Paramatma's learned disciples, Indravuti Gautam and Sudharma Swami, knew the day when Paramatma would leave his physical form, and everyone was deeply troubled by the thought of Paramatma's absence. Sudharma Swami, who every day served food to Paramatma Mahavir with a heavy heart on the third last day before Paramatma's Nirvan, brings the final meal for Paramatma. Not only the disciples, but also the kings of 18 kingdoms, their queens and families came to see Paramatma and hear his final words. They all observed Paushad, fasted for 3 days, and remained at Paramatma's feet throughout. For the first time, the deities created a Samocharan that lasted for 48 hours. Typically, each Samocharan lasts only one prahar, means 3 hours. But this time, they extended it to an unprecedented duration. Usually, the deities would come and go, but for the first time, they remained there continuously for 48 hours. All conversations ceased, and only Paramatma's divine words filled the space. There were no questions, only answers. People came from distant places just to see a final glimpse of Paramatma. All the deities, kings, queens, monks, and common people eagerly awaited Paramatma's final words. But at the same, their hearts were heavy with sorrow over Paramatma's departure from the world. Gurudev urges everyone to share Paramatma's last moments and his Nirvan, Kalyanak with family and children. Gurudev says, let them all understand who a Tirthankar is, how Paramatma Mahaveer, in his previous birth as Nandan Muni, completed 11,060,000 Maskhaman, a 30-day fast, not for personal growth, but to develop the power and ability to lead others to divinity. Many walk the path of divinity, but only few in millions walk the path to guide and lead others. The one who walks the path not just for self but for others is a Tirthankar. Gurudev urges us to share with our family, especially our children, who a Tirthankar is, how Paramatma truly was. Tell them about his birth, how he accepted Diksha and went around for 12.5 years, reaching to people and beings just to lead them to the path of divinity, who would otherwise willingly not come to Paramatma. To awaken and help them progress, he travelled far and wide, visiting places where his presence alone could resolve complex situations. He approached Chandakoshik, the cobra, who would never have come to Paramatma himself, with the goal to transform him and free people from fear. We should narrate stories of how disciples like Indrabhuti Gautam and Sudharma Swami came to Paramatma and them about his birth. And surrendered at his feet. How after attaining Keval Gyan, Paramatma established the Dharma Sangha and transformed many lives. Sharing these stories of transformation will help our next generation connect with Paramatma and understand him better. Gurudev invites everyone to join the Nirvana Anushtan on 2nd November morning, 5:25 am sharp, and experience the divine Samosharan, the Nirvana of Paramatma, and dive into the feelings of Indrabhuti Gautam and Sudharma Swami. Before joining the event, he alerts and requests all to be seated on time without having any leather material things with them. Namo Suyadevayaye, Namo Suyadevayaye, Namo Suyadevayaye. Chapter 35, titled Angar Marga, is about the path of Angar and his destiny. Gurudev says, there are two types of Angar. One is recognized by their clothes, while the other is known by their conduct, spiritual practices and feelings. Gurudev explains that being an Angar by clothing is good, but not enough. One must also embody Angar through their conduct and a way of life. In the truest sense, an Angar is someone who makes no excuses in life. Agar means making exceptions to a promise, while Angar refers to one who does not leave any exceptions or loopholes in their promises. A person who lives a life free of excuses is an Angar, never allowing themselves the permission to do wrong. Gurudev emphasizes that householders should also follow this principle. No matter what work you want to do, never leave any room for excuses. When making small promises, do so without excuses. For example, if you commit to chanting a certain number of logasa or not eating at sunset, do it without leaving any option open for excuses. Those who start this practice will find that the path of Angar opens in their lives. In this chapter, Paramatma discusses the practical aspect of 5 Mahavrats. Here are a few key points. When an Angar stays in a place, they should not concern themselves with the quality of the location, the house, or the available facilities. They should accept whatever they have without wishing for a better house or place, as such thoughts can lead to desires. Likes and dislikes can hinder spiritual practices. An Angar should not build a house for themselves, nor should they encourage others to do so. Anand Gurudev explains that an Angar is like a snake. It never builds a home, but simply goes where there is one. One should be like a snake and refrain from constructing a house. Whatever accommodations they find, they should accept. An Angar should never buy things or ask others to purchase items they like. Instead, they should accept whatever they receive in bhiksha, in alms, without instructing someone to buy it for them. An Angar should avoid engaging in buying or selling, as this is the behavior of a businessman or a customer. Instead, they should live like a bhikshu. An Angar should never develop attachments to things and worship them. An Angar should always practice being in the purest form of meditation, Shukla Whenever you see anyone, focus on what could be the brightest aspect of that person. Search for and look for only the best possibilities in others. If a person sees the negative, then the lower levels of dhyan, arthadhan and rodradhan begin. This is why, despite Goshalak, a disciple who went against Paramatma, he still received knowledge because Paramatma always saw the best possibility in him and had faith that he could change one day. The same faith was extended to Jamali. Gurudev shares the example of Chautmalji Maharaj Sahib, who gave Diksha initiation to many people. Although some left after receiving Diksha, when questioned about why he initiated so many, he replied that at least for the moments they were present, they walked the path of self-discipline, and that should be acknowledged. Such is the mindset of a person with Shukla Dhyan. Gurudev offers a simple tip. No matter what situation you find yourself in, who comes before you, focus on the greatest possibility in that situation and in that person. One whose mind sees possibilities begins Shukla Dhyan, while one who sees the negative descends to Artha Dhyan or Rodra Dhyan. Gurudev urges everyone to take this principle with them today. In every situation, see the best possible outcome, and in every person, commit to see the most auspicious possibility in him. Don't see negativity either in a situation or a person at all. Now we will see chapter 36. Namo Suyadevayaye. Namo Suyadevayaye. Namo Suyadevayaye. The last chapter titled Jiv Ajiv Vibhatti. discusses the distinction between living beings and non-living things. The Uttaradhyayan worship began with the Vinay chapter, which focuses on humility. The first chapter emphasized connecting with another living being by recognizing that the other person is Paramatma, a guru, or someone greater than oneself. At its core, in the last chapter, Paramatma teaches that to connect with a living being, one must first disconnect from non-living things. Until we separate ourselves from non-living objects, we cannot truly connect with living beings. Our souls have been trapped in a cycle of infinite births, caught up in a myth of liking and disliking objects. Gurudev explains that when we attach ourselves to things through likes and dislikes, we become entangled and our energy gets blocked by these attachments. Our soul has traveled through different life forms. We have all passed through from being a one-sensed being, then 2, 3, 4, and to a 5-sensed being. Gurudev shares a question that came to his mind. How do beings with one sense to 4 senses, which do not possess a mind, make progress? While humans have the ability to think, act, and evolve, how do these beings achieve a better state? How did our own soul transition from a one-sensed being to a 5-sensed being, when those forms lack self-effort? Scriptures suggest that a one-sensed being can directly reincarnate as a human in the next life. But what accounts for this leap? Gurudev decodes this mystery and reveals an important insight. When a great person, such as a Tirthankar, meditates beneath a tree, their aura impacts the aura of one-sensed beings nearby. When these beings come into contact with great personalities, their auras are transformed, allowing them to progress. Gurudev explains that even when you are drinking water, your thoughts can influence the destiny of the beings in that water. Just like a seed can either burn in a fire or grow into a tree. Both possibilities exist. But the outcomes is not in seed's hands. If the seed finds someone willing to sow it, it can become a tree. If it encounters someone who will throw it into the fire, it will be burned. We have all, with the support of many beings, progressed and reached to the state we are in. As human beings, we possess the ability to both descend and progress. We can initiate our own growth or receive help from others. The chapter Jeev Ajeev Vibhakti discusses the importance of freeing ourselves from the likes and dislikes we have accumulated over infinite births. It traces the journey of our soul from being a one-sensed being to transitioning through various life forms, highlighting the energies of attachment and aversion that we have stored. This chapter guides us in alochana, which means reflecting and cleansing our past experiences from these infinite births. To achieve moksha, a living being must separate itself from non-living objects. Gurudev tells before going into the details of this chapter, let us first understand the science behind Jeev and Ajeev, how they work and how we associate. Gurudev questions us, how does this world exist and whether there is any creator or destroyer? He explains that the scientific answer from Jain faith is that there is no creator of this universe. The universe is Swayambhu, meaning it is self-made. The changes we observe in the world are due to changes in two elements called the dravyas. There are 6 elements, but only 2 are active. One is Jeev, meaning living beings, and the second is Pudgal, meaning matter. Matter in Jainism simply refer to anything that has color, smell, taste, touch, and that has shape. Pudgal is of 2 types. One type can be perceived by our sense organs and the other cannot. Some are so small they can only be seen with special equipment, while a few are so sukshma, minute, that they cannot be seen by any equipment or sensor. What scientists call atom or parmanu, the smallest part that cannot be further separated, is referred to in Jain faith as skandha, meaning one that contains infinite parmanu. These atoms also possesses power. Jainism believes that not only does the soul have infinite power, but every object also has infinite power. The power of both the soul and objects are always active. The power of Pudgal, that is matter, works in 2 ways. One is natural and the other involves interference by a person. Only 2 elements, living beings and matter, are in constant motion. The other 4 elements, dharmastikai, means a medium of motion, adharmastikai, a medium of rest, akashastikai, space, and kaldravya, means time, are inactive. They simply exist and support. They are called the catalytic cause. For example, hydrogen and oxygen together make water, but if you place them in a bottle, they will not become water until electricity passes through it. In this journey of infinite births, we have developed likes and dislikes for color, smell, taste, touch, and shape of matter. Due to these likes and dislikes, we have become associated with adhikarni ki kriya. This means that despite living something physically, we still own them in our energy body. We have not left behind our dislikes and likes for the matter, and as a result, we are always connected to the actions associated with them. Until we free ourselves from the mental, emotional, and energy ownership of these, the kriya will remain associated with us. Gurudev explains this concept and guides everyone to perform a practical exercise to free themselves. He asks everyone to repeat the following words and connect with them. In my journey through infinite births, regarding the color, smell, taste, touch, and shape, I recognize the likes and dislikes I have developed and the adhikarni ki kriya to which I am associated. O Paramatma Prabhu, during these days of worship, I acknowledge the truth that non-living things never belong to anyone. I realize the myth I have been carrying that these objects are mine and belong to me. I wish to do alochna, ninda, and garaha for this. I intend to let go of my likes and dislikes concerning non-living things. While I am in this world, henceforth I will use objects and things, but will not develop any likes or dislikes for them. Tava pasayaye, tava pasayaye, tava pasayaye. O Tirthankar Paramatma, bless me. Tava pasayaye. Gurudev has given us few concepts today and will unleash more of this in detail tomorrow. Gurudev proposes that to make the aradhana, the worship we have been practicing, eternal in our lives, we should make a small effort to recite 11 shlokas every day. Begin with meditation on Paramatma. Take permission, visualize the Samosaran, and then recite 11 shlokas from Uttaradhyayana Sutra each day. Additionally, shower the Veer Stuti hymn on your family. Do this without making any excuses. Here, with this I conclude my session today, expressing immense gratitude at the feet of Paramatma and Gurudev. And last but not the least, all the listeners to patiently listen these sermons. Thank you. Have a Arham day. Mangal Path.
Chattari Mangalam Arihanta Mangalam Siddha Mangalam Saho Mangalam Kevali Pannato Dhammo Mangalam लघुत्तमा अरिहन्ता लघुत्तमा सिद्धा लघुत्तमा साहो लघुत्तमा केवली पन्नतो धम्मो लघुत्तमा चत्तारि शरणं भवञ्झामि अरिहन्ते शरणं भवञ्झामि सिद्धे शरणं भवञ्झामि साहो शरणं भवञ्झामि केवली पन्नतं धम्मं शरणं भवञ्झामि अरिहंतो का शरणं सिद्धों का शरणं साधुओं का शरणं दया धर्म का शरणं चार मंगल चार उत्तम चार शरणं दुख हरणं सुख करना और न शरणा कोई जो भवभ्राणी करे आराधन अक्षय अमर पद होय वर्धमानं शरणं